The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Discretion is advised.
Episode 101 of Rare Form Radio is happening as we speak. Can you believe it, Darren?
Sort of.
Okay, well, why? Because 100 was last week? And that would make sense that,
that
101 happens now.
Correct.
So he's the brains.
He's the brains. He's the brains. Let's get right into it. Let's introduce my wonderful guest for the day. What to say about this guy? Man. Tall,
Yeah.
handsome,
Okay.
bearded,
Sure.
shaggy-haired, talented,
Thank you.
sexual prowess of a Boston Terrier.
And you have
It's
to
everything,
throw
right?
Boston in everything.
I do. Of a New Jersey Terrier? Better?
I don't know what those look like.
Anyway, my guest
Fuck.
today is my friend, talented musician from band Big Black Delta. Please welcome Jonathan Bates. Good to see you, sir.
Likewise.
I can't remember the last time I've seen you.
I think it was a Danny Harrison thing.
Was it at Pappy and Harriet's for that desert? For that
I don't remember. I was so not on a conscious level at that point in my life. I barely remember that.
were you still a wild man then?
Yes.
Okay.
Like as soon as I was done playing, I was told I just walked off into the desert because, yeah, and so it was just like I don't remember anything except weirdness from that night. So I don't.
Oh man, I mean that's a perfect place to kind of wander off. Would be in Joshua Tree, Pioneer Town.
This is my battle with cliche because it's like a double agent of truth. You know, you spend your whole life avoiding cliche, and then you find out why they're cliche because it happens.
It's real because it happens, of course.
Right. And yeah, so, I was the dude that walked out into the desert because, his feelings were hurt or something. I can't even remember.
Do you remember that show? Do you remember, were you disappointed in the show itself?
Yeah, I remember that feeling.
It's so amazing to me. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this a million times. When I was in bands, I felt the same thing. I've seen you play. I mean, you toured with Jane's Addiction for...
No, we've been on tour together for months.
That's where we met. I want to start by saying, I was going to save this, but since we're talking about it, I've been touring with Jane's Addiction since 2008, and I've been touring since 2005. And we've had countless openers and bands that we played with over the years.
Mm,
And Big Black Delta is, without question, my favorite band we've ever played with.
that's very kind of you, man.
And I mean it sincerely.
I'm taking it sincerely.
I mean, I've had, some really good people have opened. Like we had Failure out there. We've had, Queen Kwong's been out there. But from the moment I saw you guys play the first time, it just really resonated with me immensely.
I'm lucky because you're a cool dude.
Well, thank you. And then I got to know you and Chris, and who else was playing drums on that one?
I don't remember.
There was two. There was two.
It was Masa
Yes.
and then Chris and me, I think, right?
Yep.
It was just us three?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was before you'd added you've added a bass player, I think, since, right?
Yeah, this guy Blas Perez, who's the best musician I've ever played with, and I've played with, crazy fucking people, and he is hands down just you drop him in anything, he doesn't even rehearse. That's part of the reason what's so cool about him.
His talent is at sometimes frustrating.
It's I actually think it's just genius because he's at a place now that he is just joyful with his instrument and he doesn't think about it. And did you go to Zonshine's wedding?
Nope, was not invited.
Oh,
No, but I would have.
he played it, and it was just like he's this dude that can just land anywhere in a room, regardless musically, and he can match whatever's happening in that room. And then walk out, and everybody's like, that guy's a nice guy.
Did you found him on YouTube?
Yeah.
Is that right?
He, because for a couple of songs, a lot of the bass lines are arpeggiators, right? So a lot of it's just pushing down, not you know. And so he figured out all these crazy bass lines that I had made and made a video to it, and it was just like, wow.
How did you find that? Did someone send it to you, or
yes, John Peloso,
Okay.
who was an artist that I worked with a bunch, and he had been mentioning Blas for years, actually, because, you know, Blas is like Eddie Van Halen. He's like that level.
And that's not even being overly dramatic. It's kind of true.
It's like you could put a guitar on or a synthesizer. He can do Michael Anthony singing parts or sing like Dave.
Yep. We Stephen Perkins, the drummer for Jane's Addiction, of course, is played with, in my opinion, two of the best bass players of all time. Eric Avery is my favorite bass player of all time, just from a songwriting and like a groove place. I'm a bass player, so like Eric is my favorite guy. And then Chris Chaney, the other bass player in Jane's, is like a machine. There's nothing he can't do. And Perkins said to me once that Blas is one of the best bass players he's ever seen.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's huge praise.
Yeah, it's beyond it. I agree with you on Eric Avery. Like, that's a guy, you know, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. Everybody likes a cheeseburger, right?
Yep. Except for losers.
Some people like escargot. Some people like it's snails. You know, some people like pho. Some people don't like it. But everybody likes a cheeseburger. And Eric Avery writes parts that are just not about a time or a place. You could drop them anywhere. You hear them at every Guitar Center. You know what I mean? You hear it at every sound check.
Mountain Song. Mountain Song is the official bass line of Soundcheck.
The official, yeah.
Yeah.
On tour, I hear that every other day.
If you're on a festival, on the multiple stages, there's 2 or 3 stages, you're gonna hear it.
Just fucking, and all his parts are like that, and he just has access.
I've said about Jane's Addiction forever that I can't think of another band where you hum the bass line more than any guitar part or vocal melody. Primus maybe a little, but like, you know, it's kind of different as far as like Jane's is usually pretty simple melodies.
They just hit this magic moment because da 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 da, which is actually just a horn section, and Dave's handling that. You know what I mean? So it's like they were just in a place.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. I want to go back to your desert show real quick.
Okay.
Because you were saying that you were bummed out about it, and I was at that show. My wife had heard you guys before just through me playing around, and then I put Huggin' and Kissin' in a short film that I did, which she really loved that song. And that show in the desert, it was you and Danny Harrison, and it was like
I just had everybody.
John and Danny and friends and everybody. It was a wonderful night, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen you play, which is so funny that you did not care for it or just didn't connect with it or something.
It was alcohol, man. I mean, that was the peak of my alcoholism. Not hopefully it's the peak of my alcohol. I don't
Right.
Never to hang back there again. But I was in physical pain because I had full-blown psoriasis from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, on my dick. Right?
Damn.
So I had that.
And that's from drinking?
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
So no, because I was about 2 bottles of whiskey in a 24-hour period. So I drink during the day and then pass out for 3 hours and you know, there's only so long you can do that. But you get bloated. If you have that much sugar processing through your body, you just, all you see is negative frequencies around you. And so it just makes total sense that like I was probably scared out of my fucking mind. And so I kept drinking on top of it. But that's, every musician has heard that infinite amount of times.
Of course.
That was your best show. And every time you're like, that one? That fucking one?
That piece
That's
of
what
shit
you're gonna do?
that made
You're
me
gonna
wander
come up
out
here
into the desert?
and you're going to say this to me?
Yeah.
You know, like, but that is the beauty of what we do for a living, which is, it's not up to you.
It's the beauty and the torture of it, because also
It's not
there's
torture if you fucking get it.
Well, true, but there's times when you would say that was our best show, but then your close friends would be like, it was kind of not. It was kind of a mess. So you get the good with the bad.
Yeah, and that's the joke of this. Not a joke, but the game.
Yeah.
The joy of it, if you let it be, is that like how you perceive your experience is singular.
Yep.
And so like you walk around, we all do walk around assuming people think like you do.
Right.
Until somebody checks you. And that happens how many times a day?
A lot.
Yeah, even on the smallest micro level to the macro, you know, and if you can get out of that, if you can lose an entitlement, the expectation, all devices by the ego.
Have you been able to do that in recent years?
A lot, yeah. Therapy, I got on an antidepressant because I am chemically depressed, so Lexapro. And again, the cliches, meditating a lot, working out a lot. And it's after 38 years of not doing that, it's just fucking heaven, man.
Hopefully you're not kicking yourself for not doing it earlier and you're able to just like, okay, from this point on, I'm good to go.
No, because I've reached a different place now that like this experience is, you know, I don't think the real God, if you believe in one, the one creator, if you want to say, would ever say thou shalt or thou shalt not. This dimension is an experimentation in polarity. You either serve others or yourself, or 2080 or whatever the fuck your version of it is, and that's what this is. And the source wants to see what you're gonna fucking do that, that way it can learn about itself. And that just takes off a lot of fucking pressure because you're just like, I don't get what this is all is. And it's just like, nobody cares, buddy. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You can let go. And most of us have a hard time letting go. And we have our versions of that things actually that you can't let go, because if you do, then who are you? And everybody's afraid of that. And I get it. Some people do DMT and ayahuasca, all these other things. But a really frightening question to most sober, conscious people is, what do you want? What do you mean? What do you want? I want money so I don't have to freak out. So you don't want to freak out.
Right.
Yeah. You just want a life of happiness, and everybody has their layers and versions of that. And it's just, it makes everything so much easier.
The ego thing is a huge one.
Well, if you can imagine this human experiment, if you will, right? If you set it up as God and you make things nice, they're going to sit around and fuck and write shitty poetry all day long. And Birkenstocks, J.K. Lowell's, but you know what I mean, and like nothing gets done, and how and then the creator who made these things is like, I'm not learning shit from this. They just never leave the house, So I got to set this up as a polarity experiment. Now, how do you separate the soul that's connected to all this other stuff? It's the ego is the mechanism. It's the veil that is the myth that you're alone, that you're separated, that you need external to fulfill. I need to climb a mountain. I need to do 50 push-ups. If I just get a Grammy, if I just get this chick, and it's all ass backwards. It's, it's
the Grammy one is true. That is the ultimate road to happiness.
I don't even know that world.
Right.
That's the cool thing, is that the last year's taught me is that my experience, I can design exactly like I want to. And I have very kind people around me. And it's just nice.
Yeah. My wife and a couple friends of mine struggle with the ego idea, and they'll have troubles at work. And the idea that, people at work are just spending all their time at home talking about me and how I'm fucking up at work or I'm fucking up in life. I've tried to explain, no, they're not. Like, honestly,
everybody's tripping out on themselves.
We're all, for the most part, pretty fucking insignificant. And some people find that scary. I find it comforting in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really matter to the entire world.
Well, matter is a verb that is a human construct.
Oh, John, here we go.
No, to matter, to have meaning. Meaning is a human construct. Do you know, like, because instinct, for example, we say instinct is different than meaning. Instinct just happens. Yeah, but it happens over a lifetime of meaning. Because if I don't, I'll die. You know what I mean? So it's like these are human terms. And you have to understand that the human perception is a time scale that's different than all these other things. And so we view a very singular, three-dimensional fucking thing. We haven't even figured out space-time, time-space yet.
And we're not even close.
We are. It's just that the definitions are off, and there's a lot of, God, the damage done to the entire fucking humanity by like old white dudes in the 50s because of the Cold War. We're all paying the price for that right now.
To this day, and for decades to come.
Yeah. And it's like everything that was sold for the last 40 or 50 years is completely the opposite of what I'm telling you, which is just like you're not. That's what the ego is. The ego is the perfect mechanism to trick a soul into thinking that no one's there but itself. That God is not here, that whatever that is for you.
Right.
That you know, because if you look at this is just, you are the same source experiencing itself, you know what I mean? And so then I can look at you and be like, well, you're kind of God right now, and so are you, and so is she, and
That is correct.
see, God just fucking spoke to me, and I'm not even kidding.
And we're here for it.
And I get goosebumps and joy from that. Do you know what I mean?
It's amazing.
And it's free, and it's real, and it's
And limitless, too.
I know I sound how I sound right now. Like I'm down on a knee and going like, you want to talk about Jesus?
I wish you were my dad. Like, you've given me more wisdom in the last 15 minutes than I ever got from my dad in
Your poor
41
father
years.
and their fathers before them and their fathers before that. Like my dad, his dad didn't want him. You know?
And he knew that.
And he, not only that, my dad was a sensitive bro, and he would just be
Can
like,
you get on the mic a little bit more? Yeah,
he
thank
would
you.
say horrible things to him and be like, he'd march him up and down the stairs and be like, no son of mine is an F word, you know, like that kind of thing. Or he tried to be a musician in Peru, and he'd burst into the rehearsals like all drunk and just give shit to my dad while like, you know, it was.
My dad, I'm going to tell a quick story because you mentioned that. My dad used to get me a new pair of shoes before the first day of school every year. And I was probably going, I think I was going into 7th grade, and I'm on the phone with my dad. He goes, yeah, I'm going to come. My parents were divorced when I was a year old. So I was in 7th grade, and I'm on the phone with my dad. Let's go get shoes. Cool, Dad. I'm excited. Like, I just got my ear pierced, so I'm looking forward to getting the shoes. Silence. And I hear, put your mom on the phone. Okay. And I hear, my mom gets on the phone. I can hear my dad talking through the earpiece. And he says, I'm not taking that fucking faggot anywhere. And I was like, and I heard that. I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, I was like, listen, I pierced the left ear, not the right ear, so I'm straight. Remember that rule back in the day? Yeah. Left ear, right ear?
I'm sorry that you had to experience that at that age.
He eventually apologized for it, but like my dad he's from that time too, and he's like grew up as a truck driver in a very like kind of right wing family, and that, you know, Republican kind of those ideals. And my dad is not someone like, he would probably have gay friends, but I don't think he would be stoked with a gay son. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's not his problem.
Yeah, no, 100%, because two things. It's his ego. He's afraid of being embarrassed, and then he's afraid of the pain that he perceives you're going to experience.
True.
And that is out of his control. And that is the most emasculating thing a father can feel, is that I can't do anything for him because he's choosing to be whatever, right? It's just easier to resent him then.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm a shitty man and I can't take care of my kid.
Right.
So,
and having a gay son, I'm not saying to him, but to a lot of fathers, it's their failure.
And again, you know, young kids got to understand that, like, how people awakening now is such a fast new thing. Our parents had no guidance. You know, some of them took shit like the Bible too seriously. Some of, you know what I mean? But like, there was no handbook that wasn't based on puritanical penalty.
Yeah. There was no alternate information besides like the good book
or if
whatever.
you ask the wrong question, why would you ask that? Don't ask that.
Right.
shit. Now I'm thinking about it. Oh fuck! Does that make me even fuck? Well, now I can't. Like, don't think about an elephant.
We're
What do you
always
do?
raised with parents saying like, "There's no dumb questions," until you ask what they consider to be a dumb question.
Yeah, or you ask something that they can't answer.
Right. Yeah. And then all of a sudden now you don't want to seek information anymore because you get penalized for it.
I'm lucky that with my mom who's still alive, that we've reached a place that we have a relationship now as like two souls communicating without any matriarchal or any kind of like.
That's a beautiful thing.
I've never known that, and you're right, and it's changed everything in me, because it was like, all you have to do is tell people how you feel, and if they laugh at you, it's not you.
Yep.
And if they laugh with them. Like it's okay to not get it back. And I was able to say to my mom things I couldn't say growing up, because I thought by saying those things I was less of X or Y or whatever the fuck,
As her son, which is I'm touched by what you said, because I'm aspiring for that same relationship with my mother. And I think that it's on the horizon, but I still think that she's still holding on to the matriarchal role, which she should, because she's my mother.
It's the most powerful phenomenon on the planet, a mother's love. And I see it do harm to certain people, because certain people, that makes them crazy. You know what I mean? And
It does.
you know that fucking saying, forgive them for they know not what they do. God, I wish that like it came out not from a Bible or some kind of fucking thing, because that's exactly that. If you can view your mother, even, who was supposed to be the end all be all, but be like,
She's flawed. Yeah. We're all flawed.
right. And I remember
that's
having
good.
that realization as, when I was like, oh shit, I got more awareness than they do. I'm alone.
I've had the same feeling.
I'm alone. And not only that, when you get to those moments where that really hit you and you're scared and you just want to crawl in her arms again, you're like, am I allowed to do that now? And the thing is you are, and she wants you to, but all of us don't do that unless your mother doesn't want you to, in which case is a whole other conversation. But, just to be able to say to the people around me the things I want to say without any humor to it, or without any JK afterwards,
You seem like someone who is able to do that to me, though. I feel like you're someone who can comfortably tell people how you feel.
No, I used to play the role of the nagging the English kind of way.
Okay.
Yeah, you fucking cunt. And it's just like, oh, he loves me. you
Right.
know.
Right.
And all you do is just ball bust, and that's how you showed affection. But if you meditate and you look at it non-anthropomorphically, you're like, this doesn't make sense. You're not communicating. It's like two different birds dancing at two different dances. It's like nothing's happening here, And if you think about it, to communicate with your mouth and sounds is highly, highly inefficient. Really inefficient. Because the note that I choose, the cadence, the words, you could take something, especially with sarcasm and all these new levels of human condition, right?
That's true. But couldn't it also be the perfect form of communication if you get it right?
Well, if I had a choice between that and telepathy, I would choose telepathy. Because,
Well, yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
which, if you believe in it's a consciousness thing, at some point I'll be able to fucking be like Red Apple. Everybody in the room will be like, he's thinking of Red Apple.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that now, when someone speaks to me, I make an effort to be like, what is the person, the thing behind saying, not the words that are coming out.
How do you read that? Do you read body language? Do you read their eyes?
I don't know. I
you just
ask
feel
for
it?
help from the source. So it's like, if it's not coming naturally, I'll be like, yo, am I dick here? Am I the dick? Because if I'm the dick, cool. I just need to know.
Just want to know.
Right?
Right.
And I found that in meditation, in complete not silence, but like your version of it, whatever meditation is for you, it could be hiking, it could be tennis, in that silence, asking that infinite intelligence that's out there and being like, what would you do? And what's really weird is that we all have these archetypes in our head that's kind of John Malkoviching, right? The thug's going to come out. the nice guy's going to come out. You know, like, you kind of know what those guys sound like, but the infinite intelligence is a different voice, and it's it's immediate, and it doesn't have a note, and it's like, that's not me. Cool. And that usually just tells you the shit you need to know. At least in my experience, because like, this is the other thing, is that like, every path is singular. That's the whole fucking point.
This intelligence that you're talking about, do you think of it as being like a cosmic, like
It's all
infinite intelligence, or just on Earth, or
no, it's
All encompassing.
all universes, all roads lead to Rome. There's this one, and we don't have a word for it because we call these things, but these are this dimension, you know. And there are more dimensions. We have mathematical proof to that. Even though we can only, our brains, trust me, I think about this shit every fucking day, and trying to think about the one after this, like, I just don't have it. You know what I mean? And why wouldn't that infinitely keep going up?
right.
It's the exact same thing as is trying to explain to an ant, which has a very important purpose on this planet, but trying to explain to that ant, I got in an argument with my sister because she didn't pay me back in time.
Yep.
Do you understand? And the ant's like,
I literally had this conversation last night. I was at dinner with friends, and we're talking about all the amazing UFO stuff that's coming forward lately, which you and I have shared a passion for since we were kids.
and all that stuff, by the way, is human made.
You think?
The real aliens don't need ships.
Part of me agrees with
They
that.
phase in and out, and
Yes,
and
part of me agrees with that.
Anything triangle based. I mean, right now we can go on the patent website, and was his name Cesar? Some crazy name that they were like, he's the patent guy. But if you go to the patent office, look up the naval thing. There's the TR-3B, the motherfucking big black delta that I've been talking about.
Which is what your band is named after, the Triangle Craft.
Right.
Yep.
And these cigar-shaped things are actually decommissioned fucking submarines because it's perfect. It's already sealed. It's like, you know, and they don't... I don't know about the big, huge, massive triangles that came over the Kremlin and over the Pentagon last year that nobody talked about. That could be false flag. And so, like, that's the thing that we have to all be aware of, is that's not a conspiracy. There are people that are trying to take advantage of all these other fucking things. So, like, the real aliens that are, like, cool and shit like that are not from the fucking movies.
Right. I agree with that. And that's what I explained to these people last night. I said, you know, people ask, why don't aliens come and land and
For the
introduce
same reason
themselves?
that motherfucker doesn't go in the middle of an Amazon with a fucking cell phone and go like, guys, let's just fucking Uber.
Right. Well, it's the ant thing. I
know?
said this, it's the same reason we don't introduce ourselves to an ant pile and be like, hi, my name is Dan. What are you guys doing here? Because they're like,
But even more
we're ants. What are you talking
even more relative
Can't communicate.
and relative to the situation is that, like, we're not ants. We are conscious beings. We are self-aware, and it's the same fucking reason why we don't go into the bush and get these people sick anymore and do these other fucking things, because they got to figure it out. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
Well, we also tried many times, and they're like, we don't want this.
If you're going to live one rule in your life, besides the golden rule, which shouldn't be a fucking rule, it should just be automatic, is that do not fuck with free will. That is divine. That is God's path in life, is not fucking with people's free will and just concentrating on your own and being kind on those. So somebody comes up to you and asks you, should I do X or Y? And Y will make you more money, but X will make them more happy. It's just like, why wouldn't you want them to be happy? Just, you know, like...
Sadly, I think a lot of people would choose the money route.
Well, because of...
Most people.
We all would choose that initially because we live in a world of deficit, or we think. Everything comes from a deficit. I need money because I need fucking food. You know? I need these things. That's where it comes from, and it's unfair. It's unfair. I don't know what, you know, besides the universal basic income, which, you know, a lot of people don't want. But it's like, well, what are we going to do with these 7 billion people, man?
I just love the argument of that, you know, that people care so much about human beings and care so much about American lives more than every other life.
Who are these people?
Like the more the Republican argument of like, put up the border walls, keep all the bad guys out. We got to take care of America first.
Nah,
we
man,
have the money to
you
take
can't-
care of every person on the planet, but we
have
don't.
more than enough materials on this planet and space that everybody could have a nice, kind existence. But like the thing is that there are mechanisms designed to like, well, I'm just gonna, I didn't make this up. I forgot who said this. It was like a joke. It's like if you went to the jungle and there was one monkey with 50 bananas and there was 49 other monkeys going like, you don't see that in nature because like that guy gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, you take the bananas. Yeah.
But more than that, that guy learns that like I like being loved.
Right.
And that guy's my brother. And that, like, I love you. Here, have this banana. And the guy's like, cool. So I'm not going to fucking stab you tonight. And it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all it cost was a banana. You know what I mean? Like, and hopefully as a species, we're getting there. When the old white dudes die away, which can't happen fast enough, but like when they do, I don't know. I feel like we have a chance.
We're definitely going in the right direction. I think as a human race, I think we're going in the right direction.
But these reptilian dudes, they really fucking. I mean, as bad as you could do it, they did it. You know what I mean?
And continue to. Not did it, doing it. Still happening. Well, thanks for listening to the comedy podcast. I'm kidding.
I love technology, by the way. Of
course you do,
I
yeah.
love the F-35. I fucking love planes. I watch shit about planes all day long. I love material sciences. I love, like, if I could work at Skunk Works, I have a Skunk Work t-shirt. Like, it's like, that's the paradox of this thing. It's like, I fucking hate the system, but if you guys are going to be making planes, let me help.
Right.
But we're bombing children with them. It's like, yeah, fuck.
That part too.
And it's just not going to change till all those systems are put to rest. And what's going to be interesting in the next couple of months, in the next year or two, I'm predicting, nobody's told me this, is that the sightings will get to the point, because we also, besides aliens, we have a war, a cold hot war with China. And so they're like, you know what, we're going to tell everybody. And so that's why the U.S. Space Force, all this other shit is happening now. And everybody's like, where is this coming from? Is because the U.S. is like, we can't let them do it first, basically.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
And so what we're going to see is a lot more sightings. And I just want whoever's listening to, in anything in your life, when fear comes in, acknowledge it, but don't, and give it a kiss on the forehead, like a little toddler. Just, but like, it's probably a human-made thing, and it doesn't mean anything. There is no Christ coming down to save you. And anybody that says that he's doing that, check their papers.
Yeah.
Because he's probably a pedo.
Hell yeah, dude.
I watch a lot of Sean Atwood.
I don't know who's that.
He's this British dude that, like,
Pedo.
he was like the biggest like e-dealer in London or whatever, and so he went and did really hard time, but he was good with money, so he befriended with people, and so now he has this podcast where he just has, I would recommend it for certain things, but for certain things it's like you don't need that in your diet.
There's a lot to ingest lately.
But it's just like, how many more versions of this are we going to need to see? Like the guys that are like, no gay rights, are the guys getting their dicks sucked? And like, it's just like, it's a joke now.
Isn't it amazing how often that's the case?
Well, it was amazing.
Shocking and not shocking at the same time.
But, any statistician would tell you, like, we call these things patterns because it's going to happen again. And
there's that cliche again.
Right? It's like youth runs from cliche because they think they can do it better, and then they come running back home when old, age sets in. You're like, yeah, you guys had it right. Sorry,
Yep. It's true.
And I can do that now because I'm in my 40s.
When did you turn 40?
I don't even know which 40 I'm.
Was that transition hard for you?
No.
Good. I remember I was bitching about turning 40 to a couple friends of mine, and I posted something online about like how it was a hard one. And I have a friend, Tara, who is at that time, she's in her early 30s. And she lost an arm to cancer when she was in her 20s. She sent me a message. She goes, "Happy birthday. Also, I would like it if you would stop complaining about being 40. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. She's like, there are people that don't make it past their 5th birthday. And there's people that deal with crippling disease their whole life, or that, they've been through traumatic shit and have a tough go at it. Try to be grateful for having a birthday, being here, having your limbs, having your health." And it wasn't like, feel bad for me. That's not what she was saying, but more like appreciate what you have. And I've never.
And also, you're fucking annoying when you do that.
Yes, absolutely right.
And it's,
Absolutely right. Because you're looking, you say it like whether you know it or not. You're looking for praise. You're looking for some kind of.
When you do that, and when we all do that, what it is ritual. It's part of an archetype that you think you're fitting it, because we've seen it in fucking movies starring Sally Fields and Meg Ryan, where it's like, I'm turning 40, I have to make this whole new thing to fucking talk about, and and it's like, if that would make sense if it was 1988 and everybody had massive shoulder pads, but like now it's like, you're a dork.
Yeah, mine came. That feeling for me, it came all from fear. It came from being 40 and like, still don't really know what I want to do with myself.
Well, I should have this, or I should have that. Yeah, no, you can't use your father's yardstick. That's the first step to fucking failure. And
I don't think it was even that for me. I think it's more just what I put on myself. I'm not someone who puts a lot of pressure on myself, but there is like.
Did a part of you was like, I should have a home, I should have savings,
that, or just
this.
like, or at least have more of a direction of what I want to do. Because my interest is in so many things. My interest is in making music, working for musicians, doing this show. I was directing music videos. I wanted to direct films.
What's the reason that like that can't be done?
That's what I decided. I can do all those things if I want to. I don't have to pick one.
And because then somebody will say to you, "Oh, jack of all trades but master of none," and it's like, actually, I'm a master at a lot of things.
I can master a couple of those.
I have no problem. And if you really want to get philosophical,
I don't have to be a master.
The only true master has to be a master of all things. And so it's just
there you go. I'm also someone who I've never been like, if I'm going to do it, I have to be the best at it. I don't care about being the best.
Yeah, most people that do that, it comes from a fear-based thing, because if I'm not best, I won't get love, or I won't get made fun of, or I won't get beat up.
Yeah.
Like the fear of getting jumped sticks with you. Getting jumped sticks with you, and then you wake up and you're 35 and you're using algorithms that make sense when you're fucking 17. And everybody around you is looking at you like, what the fuck are you doing? Well, that came from because I don't want to hurt. I don't want to be in pain, And and again, going back to like looking at everybody else differently. On the way here, I was telling her, we were at a stoplight, and I was just...
You came with your lovely girlfriend here.
Andrea.
Yep.
Thank you for coming.
Yep. Good support team.
We're looking at people go by, and she's like, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, I'm imagining each driver as a toddler giggling in their shit. And she starts laughing, and I'm like, I know, right? Like, that's the best I can do right now, because anything else feels inauthentic. I can't just love the UPS driver. I don't think I ever will. I'm not that good, but like, if I imagine him as a human being who shits and giggles, and then his mom giggling next to him, and I'm all of a sudden, now I do love this motherfucker. I've never met him, you know what I mean? And just choosing to do that, except the other thing that I was doing, which was just like fucking traffic and anything in LA, and there's nothing fucking works, and it's that guy that wants to like Archie Bunker every fucking thing.
There's a time and a place for both, in my opinion.
Well, that's where balance comes in,
right?
And wisdom, with because you can't be all love. If you're all love, you're cancer. If you're all anything,
absolutely, it's gonna build and fester. You gotta let it out.
You're cancer,
mm-hmm.
And so it's like wisdom applied to these phenomenons is what makes a life worth living. So applying wisdom to love. Not everybody gets your love. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make you a bad person. That just means it's not the right time.
Has exercise become one of your biggest outlets for
I think it
anger,
has to,
stress,
as you get older.
Mhm.
When you're younger, you just have, you can do things like that. But now that I don't drink, I have a lot more free time, because if you're drinking and passing out and drinking, your schedule is completely tied up. And so it's like, what do I do with this free time?
Sorry, guys, I'm busy. I can't.
And then
Can't make it.
And then a pandemic shows up, and so you're like, well, I could fucking fall off the wagon and nobody would know, because everybody's dealing with their shit right now. And it was like, let's try something else.
When did you actually get sober?
Well, I still smoke weed,
I consider that sober.
because I just want people to understand that it works for me. It doesn't do any, but the end, right after fucking Trump got elected.
That whole thing.
So Trump gets elected.
Dude, that's when I would have chosen to drink if I ever wanted to
I
drink.
know. I like it was that I was so fucking pissed off. But the thing was, is that my body had hit its limit, and my surroundings had that. Sorry. And at this point, I was living in my friend's closet downtown at his place, and the thing is that he worked with alcohol companies, so there was always bottles at the house, and so it was just like,
It's a good test.
not only that, he was out of town all the time, so it was just like,
So you were the kid in the candy store
oh man.
trying not to eat
And
candy.
not only that, he has the biggest modular synth rig I've ever seen in my life. So it was, I obviously dabbled into that until one night I started vomiting blood, and I was just crying. And everybody has this story where you're like, I can't do this myself. I need help if there's help out there. And then just took it day by day after that, and then sat in because of American healthcare, just sat in that closet and went through the DTs, which is...
Are they as fun as I've heard they are?
I'm grateful for going through it, but I would never want it, because if you want to be humbled in the most horrible fucking way, yeah, sure. But it also made me focus on things, because you're going through this. You put on a YouTube video of rain, and you start zooming into that sound of rain, and you start picking it apart, and what I was doing was meditating. I was just being present in the moment, and then all of a sudden 4 hours go by. And you're like, if I can do this 32 more times, I can make it through the week.
And that saved you think, the meditation?
Nothing saved me outright. It was, I saved me. I fucking saved me. It was just, wanting not to want to suffer anymore, and not knowing, but just thinking, there's got to be a fucking better way than this. I don't have it, but that's no reason to not ask.
Have you ever, you mentioned DMT and, oh my God, ayahuasca.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done those things?
I've done DMT.
I would like to. What was your experience?
It's, again, something that you can't, there's not a word for it. Obviously, that's why it's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I would never recommend, but would be so grateful if you did it.
Right.
Because
Interesting.
it is, it's for people that are uninitiated. There's a lot of death processes that you have to, of these onion layers that we all have. And it can be fucking frightening. And then also, there are physical reactions to it. So some people shit their pants and all these other things. But, if you can remind yourself that, you are not that meat suit, and you will never cease to exist. And there's nothing to worry about. The pain is temporary. This existence is temporary, but you live for fucking ever. And that's what I got from it. And then also it not humiliated me, but it humbled me. So it was like every fucking asshole at 24 is like, I just want to know what's about, man. I get it, right? Yeah, but what's the fucking meaning? And then this thing was just like, oh, you want to see it?
Here it is, motherfucker.
And so in that span, and I don't know how long I was, but saw a million other lifetimes, and I saw a million other things, and I saw that rocks and things that we don't know actually have feelings and collect energy around them, and
I've heard this from other people.
And
it seems
I was a woman on this planet, and I was this on there and that, and then whoosh to here, and other people have different experiences. But what I saw was that this in front of us is my first Sony, you know, and the real gig is just Hawaii. Like, it's just beauty and you know, in this state, it's very hard to honor and love the things that negatively affect you. It's impossible, but those are the gifts, because if you can figure out how to negotiate those moments and not become those moments and respond and not react.
Why do you think we get stuck here?
Because you were raised with fear as the main motivator of everything that you do. The main motivator probably of everything all of us do is like, you know, you're not good enough, or if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're not going to get the love that somewhere deep inside you, you're like, I'm entitled to. And it's why does it happen? Because the ego is so well designed to separate you from that, because the creator wants you to be here and watch you decide, because it's learning about itself by watching you do that, because you are a tendril of it, you know, and there's freedom in that non-freedom. I'm part of a bigger thing. This isn't all on me. And as soon as you're a kid, as soon as you leave the house and you go to second grade, it starts happening, you know? I don't want them to make fun of me. I don't want them to laugh at me. All right, so I'm going to get these stickers. And not only that, I'm going to find out everything about this character. And then you're 6 and you're that character now. You know, and it's usually out of fear-based. And if we can get to people and be like, let's do the exact same thing, but out of just complete joy.
That's a beautiful idea.
So as a boy, I don't want you, you know, it's like, you got to be a fighter. And even my dad, he would be honest about it. He's like, I don't know why, but like, and I'm like, you can't even fight. I could kick your ass, because he would yell at me if I lost at a tournament or something, and we'd be walking to the fucking car. And he's like, how did you let? And I would just turn around and be like, I could lay you out here right now. How the fuck, you know? And it came from a place of like, I love you so much. I just want you to be able to kick everyone's ass so that it doesn't happen to you, you know? But even at that period of time, he didn't know he was doing that, and I didn't know he was doing that.
Did you ever get to a point with your dad where you guys
As best as I could.
were at a good place?
Yeah, I mean, before he died, we got into it because of Edward Snowden.
Explain.
I came home and he was just like, this guy's a traitor, and how come, you know? And I was just surprised, because my dad he was the softest, kindest, like Buddha motherfucker. And so it was like, we're having dinner, and I was like, really? And I just shook my head. I'm like, God, that's disappointing. And he did one of these things, the table flips over, china flies everywhere, and he's like, you don't fucking, you know, this whole fucking thing. And the next day I had to sit him down and be like, look, you can think anything you want, man. I didn't mean to cause that. And he's like, it's just a son doesn't say to his father that he's disappointed. And I'm like, well, then what do I do with it, man?
Yeah. You're not better than me. Like, we're both human beings living in the same world.
But at the same time,
I love you, and I want to tell you how I feel.
My alcoholism had taken off to a point that, like, you know, and this is how my parents dealt with it. They talked about it, but I didn't know they knew. And so he was afraid that I was becoming a saucer like his dad. And so the cycle was happening. And so before we could address that, he had died.
Okay.
And so, you know, that was, you know, I'd love to, but I know I'm going to see him again, or feel him again, or resonate with him again, and it's going to be fine. So it's just,
I would like to get to that place of, like, my dad's still alive, but like I'm almost getting emotional hearing you talk about your stuff with your dad, because I'm currently in a similar thing with my dad.
forgive him because he doesn't know what he does.
I have. That's the thing, is like with my dad, I fully accept him for who he is and all of his beliefs, whether I share them or not. I respect him.
Also,
I accept it, but he does not do that of me.
Right, but you have to respect evolution. So you are the newer model. Okay, so you know that's part of the gig, is that you're going to be a better version of a human being than your dad.
You hear that, Dad? I'm better than you.
Well, no, it's Oh God, I mean, there's Greek epics written about this.
Right. I mean, it's another classic cliche.
It's not a cliche. It's part of the human paradigm, which is like, you know, don't you want to be better than the first model?
And parents, you always hear that they want their children to be better off and better than they were as well, until it actually seems to happen.
Also,
then there's a problem.
I've never met your father, but I don't know if anybody was ever empathetic to him or kind to him. So it'd be like, does he even know how these things look and sound?
Right.
And take it from there and just be like, hey, if this person doesn't speak Spanish, they don't speak Spanish. Like,
right.
You're not going to fucking yell it into them.
Like I love having, deep, emotional, sensitive conversations, but I don't think I could do it with. I think if I tried with him, he would just shut it down, or just like he'd be so uncomfortable with
and
his own.
And in the moment, if I was you, I'd be like, I see that this causes you distress, and I don't want to distress you. I just want you to know it's coming from a place of love, and I think you're a dope dude. Have a nice night, and walk away. And and you got your message across.
Yeah,
which is like, we're cool. Regardless, like we're cool, and it's like he wants to know that, but he's afraid. And growing up in Miami, like that was the thing with men. It's just like, you don't fucking show emotion, bro. And you
bravado,
had all these, and you had all these fathers that were really great fucking little league coaches, but just couldn't.
But emotions are weakness for a lot of those guys.
For most people, up until this recent awakening that we're all having, and that always made me so fucking sad. That like kindness and empathy was viewed, and this still it, view it as a weakness or the mark.
Have you felt that way your whole life? Like empathetic towards others, or
I did, yeah, and then it got me in trouble because I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know how to negotiate with it, and sometimes it took over, and sometimes not, and then I became the bully for a minute, and I think about those three dudes every day of my life, and I know their names backwards and forwards, and it was like the 15 minutes that because that was the other thing, was that I got fucked with. So I started training before it was MMA. It was called shoot fighting, and this guy, Bart Vale, who's the grandpa, one of the grandpas, and so this was hard training, man. Like you'd walk in and be like, today your legs are broken, do 50 laps around the room, and you'd drag your cross. And so I became the guy, and then I whooped ass, and I saw these kids crying. Kids, I mean, we were the same age.
Yeah, but you felt powerful.
I didn't like it. I didn't like that kind of power. And so I called them, each of them different things that night, crying, like, I'm so sorry, And of course they were like confused as fuck. You just kicked the shit out of me, and this kid's calling me up crying. Like, I'm not a wolf like that.
Right. Well, that's a very good thing.
No, wolves are good, man, because they keep the fucking populations down, and it keeps the ecosystem good. I'd rather be a hawk.
Right.
Or something else. Like and the wolves, actually, we found out that they're not like that. All the wolf studies we did is that we got strange wolves and we put them in a fucking zoo. And of course, alpha is going to come out because that's how it works. But wolves in nature don't work like that. It's mom and dad and all these people around, and the babies get the meat first, and everybody spoils them. They're just like fucking
like a nice family.
Right. So if the setting is right, the human being can be angelic. But if you come out the womb with fear, your parents are afraid, because how am I going to pay for this fucking thing? How am I going to tell them, oh my God, if they're gay, what am I going to say? Like all this shit. And they just did it because that's what their parents did. And it's fucking, it's not fair to anybody on the ladder of that.
I agree.
Have
you ever done I want to shift a little bit. Have you ever done, I did my first deprivation tank.
All the time. I mean, I do
week.
my version of it where it's like a face mask and earplugs in, and yeah, that's the quickest way, I think, to access that thing I'm talking about.
It was a wild experience.
And it's free.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fuck your liver up. And when you can get better at it, and you can negotiate it and take it places and all these other things. And it's salt water.
Yeah. It was really, I mean, I went to a place, downtown to do it. And you go in there, you lay there for 2 hours. You have no idea what time is doing. You have nowhere to be. And
And, and time is fucking, in another solar system, time works differently.
Yep.
So it's not relative,
I mean, even just right outside our ozone, time changes.
Again, it's a human construct of measurement. That's all it is. It's measuring actually distance. And that's where humans get time confused. Because if you're not moving relative to anything, time's not moving and nothing's happening. So for me to get to here to there, that's time. That's a distance thing. That's not, do you know what I mean? And
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Obviously never thought of it.
This moment right now, that one just happened. And this one right now, you know what I mean? It's not slices. It's, I know how I sound right now.
I love it. I love this.
This is all I think about.
This is why I wanted you to come, because I really enjoy these type of conversations.
I just hope I'm not coming off as telling anybody they should or shouldn't.
Darren, what's the verdict? Is he coming off as telling people how to think and how to feel?
Absolutely not.
We're doing great.
Thank you, guys.
Of course.
He's just speaking his truth.
I love it. You seem like you've what's the word I'm looking for? Like evolved even since I last saw you.
Thank you. What a nice thing to say to somebody.
Yeah. I'm not saying that what you were before was any worse, but you
I'm not looking for anything but niceness out of that comment. I promise you.
Good.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that what we're here for?
I guess so.
To evolve.
And also, what yeah, there you go. Right.
You are God's tendril, and I want to see what you do. Is he going to go left? Is he going to go right? Is he going to scream at that person, or is he going to, man? One time, again, this was at that same period of my life. I was driving somewhere inconsequential and stupid, like a gym or some shit like that, right? And I was so entitled, get out of fucking, and I clip this lady's side view mirror, pull over to the side, she gets out, and she's just my sciatica, and I just didn't know what to fucking do, and I thought that's it, my, way to go, John, you made a lady cry on a fucking road, right?
Now you've done it.
And I didn't know what to do, and luckily she didn't react in a bad way, but I was like, I'm so sorry, you're right, and I hugged her, and it was like a 10-second hug, and she calmed down.
An embrace. That's a legit embrace.
She just was like, you got to be careful. And I'm like, I know, you're right. Okay. And it went from like, you ruined my day to she loved me and was like, you got to be careful.
And that is the importance of taking accountability or being responsible for your own actions and choices, which we struggle with so often.
Because we're afraid that we will be denied love. And the thing is there's no lack of that. Don't worry about that. You're just in the wrong place. That's all.
I tell people all the time, sometimes nothing feels better than giving a really good apology.
If it's real.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I mean, a genuine apology. If you've really hurt somebody or really done something.
What a beautiful moment. And if it's received, it's almost sexual, because, and then this, and then together, and that, it's God, forgiveness. That's why it is written about the way it is.
Yep. It's very intimate.
I had to let go of things that happened to me as a kid.
Yep.
That would just fucking turn me into a monster and could easily made me hate men. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So be that guy that you're just like, fuck, why did he burn that whole building down? It's like, I could have been that. And it was just like, or I don't have to carry it because this is an experience. It's not personal. There's no Abrahamic God up there with a beard going like, fuck this guy in particular today.
So for people that have gone through something like that, is it as simple as a choice for you to not let it consume you, or that came from therapy and meditation?
No, it's like sobriety. It's a constant struggle, and then things pop up in the news, and then you see how other people react to it, and how other people react to that reaction, and then it just becomes this gross mess. And for me, it's part of the plan that I'm just seeing that, like, if I truly look at the people that have wronged me as God acting out that polarity at that moment, well, shit, I'm just humbled to be of service, dude. Because I'm still here, And if I'm not, it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, you don't end. And I think
I want to get to that
and
point.
I
where
really
feel that way.
believe this, that you take your memories with you. Like you take like it's not like you're gonna go blank and you're just this thing. You're gonna go blank and you're gonna be sent into a place and all this is, oh, I don't have a body. That's all gonna be fucking new. But you're gonna still remember mom. You still remember your sisters. You're gonna still remember I'm a male. I have 10 fingers, you know, or did. And you know, that's my choice. But that's the cool bit of it is like, it's my Roger Rabbit's going to be there and there's going to be a fuck ton of donkeys and go-karts, you know, like why not?
I'm in. That sounds pretty good
my
to me.
dream in life here while I'm on the planet is just to get a ranch and have a fuck ton of donkeys. That is the actual, like, besides creation, that's all I want and love. But like, just to hang out with some donkeys, dude.
Why donkeys?
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, why not horses or alligators or dogs? I didn't know if donkey was specific to you for some reason.
Donkeys are just like, you know, being a tall dude, and as you get older, bending down to pet things, it just sucks. A donkey, I can walk up and just hug like this.
There you go. There's the reason.
And donkeys are also the best security animals. They genetically hate dogs, so they'll fucking destroy wolves and foxes. And so, you know, you have to ingratiate them with dogs and be careful with them. But it's more about just hugging that fucking donkey face. Like I see it in my eyes, and I just get dopamine rush, and I hug it, and the donkey's like, "Thanks, man."
Have you been able to hug a donkey?
No, but I can tell you what it's like, even though I've never done it. You know, and it's just I remember being like, "Is that a good enough of a fucking goal?" And it's like, "Yeah."
Get over there, Dan. Be his first
it.
donkey.
No, I'm gonna save it for a real donkey. Be his first donkey. That's the name of the episode.
That was perfect. I mean, that was just like.
I'll be your donkey. That's fucking your donkey right now.
Well, but see, I can stand up. I mean, and it's not bending over to pick up a cat or a dog and then having to back it up. You know what I mean?
I'm your dankey.
I can have dignity. I can dignity and stand up and talk to a donkey face to face. You know. How can I not be condescending to a dog or a cat? Like when I'm like, look, I've got these. Suck it. You know?
Yeah. Opposable thumbs.
But a donkey's
They'll
got
never
these
be
big
me.
human teeth, and they laugh.
You're right. You're right.
You know, and can you imagine? Like you wake up in the morning, watch the sunrise, get super fucking caffeinated, get on your fucking RV, and there's a trailer in the back full of dogs or whatever the fuck want to come along, and you just slowly drive around, and all the donkeys are like, "What is up?" And you're like, "Nothing, just seeing how you're doing. It's great." Did you pay the tax property this month? Yeah, I did.
We're good to go.
Good to go.
Let's go to Utah.
And like for the longest time, I was like, that's not enough. Why not save the world? Why not do all these other things? Because it's like, who the fuck do you think you are, John? Just come up with a good idea.
Right. So with your evolution, like I was talking about, is music still as important to you as it was before?
Yeah, I mean, besides, again, love, music and creation is why I'm here. And so I've gotten to this place now because I can play anything, do anything. And technology is so cool that I feel like Mickey and Fantasia, just whatever I want. And so I've been, for the last 18, 20 months or whatever, just stockpiling and making things and being happy about it, which is like, ask any musician, is rare, man.
Yeah.
to be like, oh, I want to show you something. Like it's, you know, it's very rare.
You put out a record last year called 4, right? What was that reaction?
No, that reaction was, it's just like, you know, I'm dealing with something business-wise right now. And basically because I put a record out during pandemic, I'm just getting hit in the pocket for it, you know, because how corporations work. They're like, well, the performance over that quarter was like this. And you're just like, it was a pandemic,
yeah,
bro.
I was home like everyone for fucking a year and a half.
I was doing a good thing by putting out a record when we were all stuck at home. And so like, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Of course.
You know.
But as someone who, I don't know you very well, but I know you enough, and I'm a fan of your music, and like I said, your music, not much music like speaks to me or whatever, or gets me emotionally. Just the sound of Big Black Delta does that for me. I don't really know why.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I can't explain what it is. It's something about, there's such happiness and eerie sadness and misery in it all at the same time. And it makes me what the best word is, but like nostalgic, and I don't even know what for, but it gets me good. And your last record, there's even more of that than ever.
See, and that's just me more myself, you know.
And that's what I'm kind of getting at. It feels like that to me.
That's the next time you see me live, I'm gonna have a guitar on me, and it's like, you know, these just things that have to happen.
Like you let your
Shredder.
inner riffster. Yeah.
No, I'm not a riffster, dude.
Yes, you are.
I'm a shredder, bro.
That's what I mean.
There's a big fucking difference.
Your skills remind me undercover of like a Billy Corgan, who is someone that people know as a brilliant songwriter.
I love Billy, but I could shred him out.
Well, that's what I'm getting at is people don't know that he is an absolute monster shredder when he wants to be, and you are too. And you let it happen on this last record more than you have before.
You have no idea what's coming up, man.
Oh,
You know, it's like that's kind of the thing because, it used to be a joke. That stuff used to be a joke, but now it brings joy because there's no sarcasm involved. Music is no longer ironic.
and that's what that's what you're saying. You're like taking the words out of my mouth.
And so being earnest,
I know you're not.
I'm really good at being earnest.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at being like cynical, and because if you start making fun of people and you get good at it, then you're good at making fun of people. And what fucking good is that? You know, it's like,
I've been accused of that before. That's something that I can be very good at. You know, that's one of my powers has been using humor to rip on people, to make myself feel better, to make others laugh.
it's a very important archetype, and that's why it's, you know, the court jester got to tell the truth and not get beheaded, you know. And so it's,
I have a choice to make.
well, you know, that's in this business especially. It's
Yeah.
like you can say certain things, but certain things you can't, depending on when and whatever. And it's like if you buy into that, it can not be fun for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or just saying you just try to be not a cunt
That's where
when
I'm
you're
at.
awake,
Yeah.
and shit should fall in line.
Yeah.
With a couple I'm sorry's on the way. You know?
There you go. I can live with that.
Because you're not supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be present. Perfection is another fucking human term that is just so stupid, man.
And also completely 100% unattainable in every aspect.
Well, I don't think people even know what the word means. Like people use the word infinity. They don't know what it means. Perfection. I don't think perfection is literally infinity. You're talking about, and. But everything I've been saying today has worked for me, and there's somebody who might be listening to this right now who everything I've said is completely the opposite of what you need to hear. And if that's how you feel, own it. Sit in that moment. Only take what makes sense to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because believe me, I'm not fucking with your free will. And anything, that's what the other thing. That's the law of the one. That's the law of the universe is don't fuck with free will. And that's why those guys aren't coming down. And the guys that do come down, you got to ask why.
I feel like we need to do another 2 hours of this.
My poor girlfriend. This is just when she wakes up in the morning until she goes to bed at night.
But she's sticking with you through it, so she must be into it in some way.
She's very kind.
I love it. I mentioned that your music makes me feel like sentimental and nostalgic. Are you one of those people? Are you a nostalgic, sentimental guy?
I used to be. And then I just kept like drinking. I kept going at it, thinking that I was going to get to this. It's like doing cocaine for the first time. It'll never, ever, ever be that good again. And there's people that have lost their lives trying to get to that place. And so like part of nostalgia is being an 8-year-old.
That's
so
it.
being 40 and trying to relive it again is and then you try to do that and you're like, this isn't fucking working. And so the real math I found is be the 40-year-old with the 8-year-old's fear mechanism. The 8-year-old doesn't give a shit. But I've got 40 years of talent now that I can do. And so if I take that fear out of the equation, it's like, dude, you know me, I'm not an arrogant person. It's just like, I can be any fucker, man. And so it's like, I'm just choosing to be the one you see in front of you. I just don't know.
The 8-year-old unapologetic self, in a way.
The same when you see kids walking down the cereal aisle and they're just like,
flopping around.
and it just like
No shame, no embarrassment.
no, it's a summoning, if you will. Where's that coming from the kid? Why is the kid fucking singing about poo poo pants in the sushi aisle? You know what I mean? It's like it just comes to them, and there's no like, God, I hope this is a hit. I hope my A&R guy likes it. I wonder if we sell merch on this, you know, and just make. I don't know if you can make money doing the way I'm doing though.
How come?
Well, you know, it's not like what I'm making is that fucking important. So it's just like all the other music that's out there, and it's like
No. It's not like that.
I
It is different. It is
Tomato,
different.
tomato,
Right.
like it does like
Your song, the song "Hugging and Kissing," which you probably have talked to death about, was the theme throughout an entire arc of a television show.
Right.
That happens because it's specific.
That was somebody else's decision.
Of course it was, but it's because something that you did resonated more than all the other stuff that you're comparing yourself to, or saying that it's just like everything else. Obviously, it's not.
I created the thing, and I take ownership in that. But the financial success and anything that came after that was the producer of that show deciding to use this guy. You know what I mean? That you heard on the radio, and I have to honor that. I can't lie and be like, yeah. It was all in the plan. Like
No, of course it wasn't the plan.
and
if you get into this for the plan of making money, you're
any
going to
artist
fail.
will tell you that like how your shit is received is just unmanageable. You can't.
Which is why people shouldn't chase trends and try to do what you think is
All
right.
the nicest things you said to me today, I've had like the complete inverse means in print, you know, and it's just like, if I listen to any of this, I'm not listening to myself.
I say, don't listen to me. Don't listen to those people either.
No, I'm taking your compliment home, and I'm going to lather it up and just rub it all over my body. It's just empty calories, though. You know.
I do. But you better get into fighting shape, because you have the world is opening up again, and you have some stuff coming up, which I'm actually very excited
I don't even
about.
know what to expect, if anybody's going to even know or care.
Don't expect anything.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And it goes to the antithesis of everything we've all been raised, which is, what's your 10-year plan? You guys got a 401k? You got taking care of that? You got to find. Do you have insurance on your phone? Do you have all this other stuff? Like, if you don't, it's gonna get you.
Fear.
That fucker's gonna get you. Where? I don't know. You're taking a shit. I'm here. You know. You don't have to. You don't deserve that as God.
Yeah.
You don't deserve that.
I've done pretty good my whole life, just caring about like today. Maybe to a fault, but like I'm not the kind of guy that like I don't worry about how am I going to pay bills next month. I'm like, it'll just happen, and somehow it does.
That is a gift of incalculable size.
I know, and I don't take it for granted. I'm very grateful.
What you just described is what Buddha sat under a tree for. You know, like,
my wife tells me all the time. She said, you were born with full Buddhism, everything that people try to get through years of meditation.
It sounds like she enjoys it, because it helps, like, you know, if you're freaking out, if the person next to you is like, it's okay.
It's both parts. She enjoys it, and then is also at times incredibly envious, because she is someone who can live in anxiety like most people.
I'm listening to this, and I
Yeah.
have envy about it.
Yep.
You know, because that's.
And then sometimes I feel bad about it. You know, I feel.
Oh no!
No, I do, but it's okay. I'm fine with it. But I feel sometimes I feel
it's like being ashamed of having like a 10-inch dick. It's just like,
I have that too, dude.
just own it. And there you go. Like, just own it.
I live with it, right, Darren?
Absolutely.
I live with it. We all have our crosses to bear.
Drag.
Yeah, total bummer. So what do you have planned? I know you have a show in LA on September 22nd, which I am honestly thrilled about. And I'm not just saying this
to be completely
to you.
honest with you, it was just the first thing. You know, the guy who's more of a partner, but we'll call him manager. We had lunch for the first time since the pandemic, and it was like, "Do you want to do a show?" I'm like, "I should, shouldn't I? Yeah, let's do a show." And it was like that, and because I can't plan, no matter how much I try, what people expect or not, you know. And when I do solo tours, major markets, I'm cool. But it's getting there, you know, and it's like learning this new world, and learning if you're even needed. So, like, you know,
there are certain things that are coming out now that are just the shit. Like those fucking 3 teenage girls that were just punk rocking, like screaming about.
I've seen them all over Instagram and shit, right? Yeah.
And the other day I saw these 3 girls in a hijab shredding to like Megadeth.
I saw that too. Yeah.
You know, and I was just like, oh, thank God. This is fucking awesome. This is what I was talking about, because I was just afraid that we were just going to continue this archetype shit, man. And as much as I love ass, that's what music is right now. Is just a beautiful ass and inconsequential sounds behind it, and that's great, dude. That's fucking awesome.
It works for a lot of people.
I just need more calories, man. You know. And again, it's like I'm a 40-year-old dude, so people are like, no one cares about me. It's just like, I know. Yeah. I've got logic. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I can make my shit.
But does part of that take the pressure off for you?
Yes.
Great.
Well, I don't know what pressure you're talking about. I've never been successful, so it's not like there's nobody like knocking on the door for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's.
I mean, but like when you were younger, you were in a band, Mellodrone, for what?
Yeah,
a decade or something.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when that band was happening, you guys were like shooting for you wanted the record deal, you want to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
But at a certain point, you do kind of let that obsession go.
Yes, that's
like,
long gone.
Right. And that's a good thing. That's a pressure that is nice to get rid of.
No, yeah, like owning my own label and most of my own publishing is the only reason why I'm like not starving right now.
Mm-hmm.
But also because nobody would have me, and it was the only way to go. So it was like there wasn't a plan to this. It was just like, no thanks. Okay, well, I'll just keep going.
Well, that's the difference between you and a lot of people. A lot of people would have given up at that point.
And there's a lot of people who haven't, and nobody will ever know. And and there's a lot of people in between that too. And that's, I don't get it. I don't get any of it. But that's not for me to get, I guess. I wouldn't want to. Imagine if you were the one guy that understood how to make things a success in the music industry. You would be kidnapped by the Mossad because you're just like this unicorn that prints money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm Jewish, by the way, so it's like that wasn't an anti-Semitic thing.
I don't even get it. I don't understand
Mossad
what's
like
going
the
on right
CIA
now.
of Israel.
Right.
And they're really good at what they do.
I cannot wrap my head around what's happening in that whole Israel-Palestine thing right now. And
the people, have you seen that meme of the 2 girls fighting and the guy smoking a bowl behind them laughing?
I don't think so.
It's like at a...
Is that what we are as humanity right now?
Oh, that's all we've ever been. But like, the fucking... I'm not even going to get into this with you because like it just... But it's a long story and it's really complicated and it can't be boiled down into a tweet thread or a fucking...
That's what I've put together is that whoever talks to me about it is going to make up my mind, and then I'll talk to somebody else, and then they'll be like, well, that seems right too. It seems like something where there's no...
Well, if you hear what I was saying earlier, that we're all God experienced through God, then it's just like that kind of makes sense because whoever speaks to you last, and I don't know what to do about that, and I don't think it's going to change because too many people make a lot of money and control over it. And so I hope as a civilization we get to realize how false flagged we've been. Gulf of Tonkin never happened. The thing that's was American Spanish War never happened. Like that thing. It was all just dudes just like, again, smoking the bowl. She called you a slut.
What?
Boom. Yeah. And he's taking bets and he's making money on it.
Throwing in the hand grenade and then backing up and letting it do its damage.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's been us for at least the last 400 years.
I would think from the dawn of time, there's been aspects of that. I would think.
100%.
Yeah.
I just at this callous
and the calculation of it.
But at this level now, dude. So if somebody gets sick, we all have to do a fucking drive for them. There's no insurance. There's nothing. Like I said, as an American, I had to go through. Granted, it was my choice to become an alcoholic, but like it would have been nice to have
yes and no
benzos going through my body so that I didn't, break my neck.
Yeah.
And somebody could say like, you shouldn't have that.
And you could have died doing it on your own. Honestly,
I mean, yeah, my little sister, who's a doctor, when she found out, she was upset. But I was like, what was, because at the time it was either that or walk into a hospital and threaten suicide so that they threw me in a 5150. And they would do minimal, because I was like, I can't go through this. And she's like, that's the only thing I can recommend.
And I have a tough time believing that those people actually care. I have a tough time with, I don't know, maybe they do, but like when you do the 5150s, I've known enough people that have gone through it. There's not a lot of compassion.
No,
there's
but no, it's a bureaucracy.
Empathy.
It's a bureaucracy laid into keeping insurance claims as low as possible. Yep. So it's not about, just like the prison system.
I was going to say,
just
prisons
like the
are
health
the same
system
thing.
is like, like if you've noticed, everything now is an immunosuppressant. So if you've got psoriasis, immunosuppressant, rheumatoid this, it's not fixing the problem, which is dietary and wheat genetics. So if we mix up the genetics a little bit more and not just this one Monsanto gene, allergies will start going away again, because allergies is only like a 200, 300-year-old thing. And so it's really simple things, but you've got these entities. They're not even humans, but they're alive, and they have mechanisms to protect themselves. They use humans to do that. Philip Morris, if they're fucking smart, have been growing weed for the last 20 years and not just getting ready to go on it. But they've been fighting both battles.
Yeah.
Same thing with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, you guys can infuse weed in your drink. Do you know that?
Get on it.
And you have them
And actually help people.
They're on it.
I know they're on it, but they're acting like, no, we don't. And it's the same thing with war barons. It's all, it's
A lot of Wizards of Oz
that refuse to choose a polarity or trick you into thinking that I'm a good guy or I'm a bad guy or another. That is the person to look out for. The guy that's like, yo, I'm an asshole. Cool.
Not hiding anything.
Yeah, but the person that wants to be an asshole because there's benefits to that, but also wants your love that comes from, giving and empathy, that's a glutton. An unfair, and you have to lie to get that. You can't do that naturally,
Jonathan Bates, thank you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Please check out his music. Please check out Big Black Delta anywhere you can stream music. Support him any way you can, because I say it all the time to you, but you really are doing something special. Your music is special to me. You're special to me.
So are you.
I love you.
I love you as well.
And I'm really happy that you came in today. I have 1,000 more questions to ask you, so we'll have to do it again.
Well, I mean, I live.
Can you give me 10 more minutes? There's something I want to ask you about.
100.
Synesthesia.
Yeah.
You are one, which I didn't realize until a few days ago.
Uh-huh.
Can you talk to me about, first explain to people what that is, and then how that works for you?
Okay, it's if you will, it's a cross pollination or wiring of senses, and so to speak. So for me, things like letters and numbers have a color designated to them, and they always usually stay the same. And sounds. So like if I work on music, my eyes are closed 90% of the time, or I have the monitor off so that like I can taste the song. It's a real visceral, like that hi-hat I can feel on the side of my tongue. And so the concept is just not feeling a phenomenon with one sense, but multiple senses, and then assigning those things, and then being automatic. You're not looking for it. And so it's just another dimension of experiencing something. So a number is not only a quantity, and it's not only an imagery of a 3 in front of it, but it's also a lime green. 5 is a baby blue. 4 is red. 2 is yellow.
You must know who Daniel Tammet is.
I don't know.
Daniel Tammet he's a savant.
By the way, those colors are different for everybody. So like your colors are not. It's not a universal.
Oh, I've always felt that way. That like my red is probably different than your red.
Yes.
And vice versa, and everything. Daniel Tammet is a guy who said that like colors and shapes, everything has a color and a shape, and he can hear
texture
numbers and
mouth and everything like that. That like I think all of us are open to it It's just that most of us are overstimulated and have never meditated into silence and just sit in the silence so that you can see who you really are at a base level. Not the caffeinated freaking out guy that's got to get across town and all this other shit and having 2 Uber fucking, you know what I mean? Like at that point, you're just adrenaline and a calculator. You know, you're just trying to get to the thing, to get to the thing, to get to the thing so that the thing happens. And you yourself at some point arrives after that is taken care of, you know. I'm getting, what were we talking about?
Synesthesia. Yeah. I'm curious just how that process of making music, like, well, I guess you don't know anything different. So I guess
I don't know anything different. And
that's been your whole life.
When I started writing music, I had to use those imageries because I'm like, well, how do you write a song? And then like naturally I was just like, well, you see these things and that red hexagon, that's a C major. Okay, cool. And then like, I want a purple in it, go to the minor 6. And it's like, and so sometimes, I think it's a great gift because, like I said, most people, and that's why the music sounds like it does today, is that people use their eyes to make music. So their sessions look like an Excel spreadsheet because it's beautiful. When you hit it and you play it back, it sounds like that. And you use your fucking eyes to make music. That's what's going to happen. But I didn't make that up. It was it Bobby Darin? People hear what they see. You know, I don't think Dua Lipa would be fucking doing as well those songs if it was me out of shape. Do you know what I mean? If I was singing the same fucking songs, sounded exactly the fucking same, but I got up on stage, people would be like, that doesn't look right, dude.
I don't like this music.
I don't like this fucking music. I don't like you. I don't like your ass. Can you get it off stage?
Just so you know, I like your ass, and I will see it on stage in September at the Terrorgram in Los Angeles. I'm looking forward to it very, very much.
Thank you.
Do you have your lineup all set yet for the band?
No.
Okay.
But Blas is there.
Beautiful. Then I'll definitely go. Because it's a free lesson watching him play every time. Oh, yeah. When I was working for Danny Harrison, I saw Blas play every night.
You can just text him and say hi.
I do. I have.
Well, you know, I'm sure he appreciates that.
You know, I will do it today. I will do it when we're done.
You know what's a nice text that I do?
What?
And to my guy friends as well. It's like, hey, nothing to report, just thinking of you.
I've gotten one of those from you, I believe.
Yeah, and I meant it.
Yep. I believe that.
And it's just like, I don't even want you to write back.
Yep.
Just, you know, and it's like, you can do that.
Well, Mr. Bates, you are as genuine as they come. And
Thanks,
again,
man.
I'm honored to call you a friend. You inspire me very much in all aspects, musically, as a human being, intellectually. And thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, too, for having me.
Hopefully we'll do it again. And wow. Okay, I'll be real. He has never once clapped for a guest before on the way out.
See what empathy on a shitty Uber experience does?
There you go. There you go, Darren. I hope you have more horrible rides every week because that was beautiful.
No, she has to take Uber everywhere, and so it's like especially getting him, and then they cancel like 3 minutes before, and you're like,
that's what I think was happening to you today.
the fuck.
Yeah. Well, what happened was when I ordered the ride, they said they had no drivers, but they still let me
Like book it,
charge it.
But then they just kept me in the loop for 6 minutes, and then I couldn't cancel, and then they finally dropped me, and then they said this is going to be $80.
Yeah,
And
fuck you.
No way.
She had been through that like once a month.
When they cancel on you at the last minute, they should give you like a credit, like a $20 credit for your next drive or something.
Who you address that complaint?
I know. I'm just saying it should happen.
They don't even have a messenger.
Yeah, come on. Let's be real.
They don't have anything. They're
Uber,
just,
let me talk to your boss. Oh, you're your own boss? Fuck.
Yeah, that's a skit. It's like you ring a doorbell, and this guy with an Uber shirt comes on. You just punch him in the nuts.
Yes. But you'd feel good in the moment. It would help in the moment.
Yeah. His wife is Lyft.
Yeah. Perfect. I'm a Lyft person now. Jonathan Bates at Big Black Delta on all the social medias, and I will support you forever. I love you. And everyone else, what do we got, Darren? Anything new? Oh, I want to do a quick thank you to Chris Cutlip sent in these T-shirts. Let me see this here. Sleeping Tiger Tattoo in Southern California. Thank you very much. He's a loyal listener. Darren's wearing it too.
There you go.
You should rip it like Superman if you weren't a pussy, you know? I do want to also thank our new Patreon subscribers. You guys are everything and appreciate it very much.
You really have no idea how important that is to.
You're on it?
No, not Patreon.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I just meant like to the people that are your Patreon. It does not go unnoticed what you do.
I try to say it every single week. It's
People
everything.
like you make those stories about recording industry nightmares go away. You know.
Oh, good.
I mean, if someone's willing to support you and you don't have to fucking go through a guy.
I mean, you put out your own shit. It's great. Creators actually getting credit for their own stuff, and as someone who supports arts, I love the idea of giving someone take my money directly. I appreciate what you do. Here it is.
No, it's just,
no middleman. So
if no one's thanked you today, besides what he's doing right now, and then me interrupting, thank you.
thank you. So welcome, Kristen Pelican. Very much appreciate it. Look forward to it. And Danielle Wallace, good to have you. If anybody else wants to support this show and myself and Darren, you can go to patreon.com/rareformradio, and we will welcome you with open arms and empathy that we learned from Jonathan Bates.
That was there always, actually.
I'm just trying to be nice. I was born with it. Humble brag. Love you all. Darren, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And everybody, we'll see you next week.
This is Lola, and I'm here to tell the world to stop being such pussies and listen to Rare Form Radio.